how did you turn a 90,000 rupees of beginning seed capital to crores of projects? What is the mindset shift? एक माइंड होता है बंदे का. मेरे को आपसे जानना है ये 90,000 से करोड़ तक पहुंचने का, करोड़ों तक पहुंचने का माइंडसेट क्या होता है?
Ravi, actually, when we look at a journey of 3 decades of a developer, you must understand that we have built this company in stages. We did our job the right way. See, so when I started, there was only one flight coming to Goa. That was from Bombay every day, and the other was from Bangalore weekly, 2 flights in a week. So we were local boys. We realized, I as an entrepreneur, those days I used to play cricket, and I was never an enterprise then, I was just a young boy, 15 years old. So we were only playing cricket, everyday cricket. So on the ground, we were taught how to win. So the concept of winning was always there. So when I got the opportunity of running a small business of a payphone, because my father wanted me to be a footballer, because he followed the Goan trend that every Goan was crazy footballer like my father was. So cricket was something new, after the World Cup winning. So that entrepreneurship came on the field, So obviously I couldn't answer my exam, and then I got a chance to run a business of as you said earlier, payphone. From there, opportunity just came up. But one thing, we didn't have the capital. That money also that I got was not my own money. It was a business money that I took the risk to invest. Because I came from a salaried background. My father was a very honest man. So one thing that I got, which I inherited, was my father's honesty, integrity. And that is what I invested in the business. And that helped me to grow time and again, because we go and, being 450 years of a culture which came from Portuguese ruling Goa. So that helped us because, generations had built a kind of a trust in each other. So obviously, we only knew to talk the truth, so we only be honest. So that helped me to build my company in the last 3 decades today where we are. So we never looked at whether it is 90,000 or it is 2 crore or lakhs. We just went on doing work. We build it in phases. So I am very grateful that people trusted us. We could reach here where today we are sitting in a beautiful monumental project. My lifetime, hard work that I put in. So it's thanks to the people who trusted us that we reached here.
So integrity, honesty, and consistency.
Yes, absolutely.
These are the 3 mindsets that you would say has got you from point A to where you are
Absolutely.
right now in this place. You started with Goa. You're still in Goa.
Yes.
Have you ever thought of moving out of Goa into cities, Mumbai, or even internationally in places like Dubai? If you have thought, how would you do it? If not, why are you not doing that like how most developers want to expand?
Deep inside me, I'm not a builder, actually, if you ask me. Because many times my office tells me, sir, you do estimate after you build the houses. But I make houses with a lot of passion, and I make those houses to build myself. So for me, I discovered Goa was such a beautiful location that it is like a piece of art for me. Every time I make a project, it's a piece of art. It was never thought it, with the intention to see how much ROI I will make out of it. We know more or less the finance team knows that, that we will make so much money, but they always go wrong. But the idea of my company, which is the ethos of the company, is that build a house in such a way that they remain for posterity. And I have not yet come across where I can go and, of course, there are some new areas that we're exploring where I can build this Goa's vibe. See, Goa has a vibe. We are born up here. We grow up here with beautiful hills, mountains, rivers, paddy field. This nature that people started discovering when they came, and when the connectivity became easy for people to come and explore. So we always remained quiet that we didn't wanted to do many projects. Like we didn't want to make 50 projects in like 10 years. We just gradually built in a such a way that we felt that building, aesthetically building more and more homes which are so-called uh, uh, creates long-term value, So we never felt those days where we could go and discover, our property. Where could I go and build it?
तो आप बोलना चाहते हो कि गोवा का यूनिकनेस यू आर नॉट एबल टू फाइंड एनीवेयर एल्स.
I mean, at least initially, we didn't get to know where I could go,
Okay.
And we were so busy with the Goa setup, and there's so much to discover in Goa. I mean, we never thought that we should go and explore because this entire company was born accidentally. It was never planned like a builder. Genuinely, it was just accidentally we managed to get a great architect, great location, and the right time. So we cultivated that, and the exciting part was when we sold our first house. That the person whoever bought that house always loved it, and he recommended us more and more and more people. So we started enjoying that. वो आपके हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, लत लग गई अच्छे घर बनाने की.
अच्छा.
अच्छा.
So this you said उसकी accidental developer.
Yeah.
मेरे को उसका स्टोरी बताइए और उसके बाद में मेरे को बताइए कि ये आपके जो पहले बायर थे. Do you remember that individual?
Absolutely, many of them. So it's not that one individual made this company. There were many people who were instrumental in buying those houses initially. So I started with an architect from Bangalore who I met accidentally in one of those payphones I was running in mid-90s.
Okay.
So I would have been any of other developer. Frankly, I didn't have so much mindset. One thing that was there in my mind was that when I went first time out of Goa, I actually realized how beautiful Goa was. I felt the architecture that Goa had, the beautiful monumental homes that they had, and the Portuguese had built them. Today, if you look everywhere, those homes will never die. They will always remain in fashion. They are in the right atmosphere. So that was always there in my mind. So I thought, when I got the opportunity to become a builder, I used that concept, that we should sell Goa, the vibe of Goa, the culture of Goa, the locations of Goa. So what we did was basically we discovered that when we met the first person, the first person who gave us the concept, the individual concept of how a house should be built, the double heights, the indoor, outdoor, of the aesthetic, of the how it water bodies, landscaping. So that we got to know the day one where people even didn't know, So that was taught to us day one because the houses of Goa were like that, So that we used that particular concept we use as our SOP for the group.
Okay.
The location, architect, and automatically buyer came because if these two things were right, the homes were built in the right proportions, the homes were built with the right surrounding. The buyers just came, one led to another, and so that's how
Many questions I want to ask you on this. First, you said the right location.
Yeah.
Then second, you also mentioned the designs and the interiors. What is it that you look for in this design, in the location? And coming back to the previous question, this gentleman that you met, the architect that you met at your payphone, that made you into a chance developer. पहला आपका जो प्रोजेक्ट था वो क्या था, मेरे को वो बताइए.
No, actually, that architect was on a holiday to Goa, but we always had a land that had come to us for development through my local friend here, was my classmate, had a land which he wanted to sell, but he was not succeeding. So he came to me and said, Suraj, help me to sell it. We couldn't also succeed it because there were 99% problem and only 1% chance. So I said, let's take that 1% chance and start. So there was no access, so we got access. The neighbors were fighting, we managed to convince them. The family were all scattered, we got them together. And then the worst part was the CRZ. There was very little CRZ property that was possible to develop. So that architect sort of gave us the first project that we did that time. Was a duplex apartment on the beach. That time the government allowed to do housing, like anything between 200 and 500. So that was in mid-90s, So we did our first project from there. And we learned every aspect, like how a house should be built. Maybe they would look like building, but internally it was made like large windows, double heights. So this is the first kind of project, Praveen.
And you all maintained that Goa ka aesthetics.
See, there
Apartment में भी.
Apartment with Lakkat, about 60 to 70%, but us time pe we were not that matured enough to really understand Goa because we were just young in early 20s. Genuinely, my first project, I was still not able to understand, am I a developer? Am I a builder? Am I going to go ahead? तो मेरा अंदर से जो वाइब आ रहा था उससे मैं आगे जा रहा था. ऐसा नहीं, मुझे तो क्रिकेटर बनना था. मेरा माइंड आधा तो क्रिकेट फील्ड पे रहता था. तो क्या करे, ये ऑफिशियली आई. तो उसमें क्या हुआ, तो once the project got ready and the people gave us appreciation, that became a complete kick, and then there was no looking back. It's just that it was a joint venture, landowner and I was a developer. So then that's how the Sun Estate was born from there, you see. And that concept of first, when we did, it was unfortunately not the homes that I build now. It was the first year was जो आप स्कूल में जाते हैं तो सब आप, you don't come out with a clean slate, ना, you study. So we understand that.
Graduate नहीं हुए थे तभी,
हाँ,
पढ़ रहे थे.
वही पढ़ाई है. वो मेरी पहला प्रोजेक्ट इज अ प्योरली पढ़ाई. उसमें हर तरह के प्रॉब्लम्स हमने देखे हैं.
अच्छा.
हर तरह के प्रॉब्लम जो उस that 5 years actually that project which I did in from 95 to say 98, those 3 years actually made me what I am today. That taught me everything.
What did it teach you?
So A, I got a great architect. B, I understood the design. C, the buyers who came were through word of mouth. We gradually got them to buy our homes. When we didn't go and market, we didn't understand how to go and market. There was no internet. There was newspaper was damn expensive, and the worst part is we didn't have money to. Where do I get the capital? So people trusted us.
To market where were you? था ही नहीं, पैसा ही नहीं था मार्केट करने के लिए.
Market forget, पैसा वो बिल्डिंग बनाने के लिए हमारे पास पैसा होगा या नहीं, that also we didn't know. But we started, चलो करेंगे, क्या होता है, देखो land तो it was belong to my
friend का ही था,
and he was anyway not able to develop. We had so many problems. So what do you call it? From zero, we actually made that world of the first project of us.
So in 3 years, you finished this apartment. I would assume
duplex apartment building.
Duplex apartment building. कितने flats थे?
उधर about 18 थे.
18 flats थे.
और हमने ना आर्किटेक्ट को हमारे पास पैसा नहीं था देने के लिए, तो हमने उसको एक फ्लैट ही दे दिया.
Best.